This is the Thebisfor podcast, and I'm your host, Bria Villa. Hey y'all, welcome back to the thebisfor podcast. I'm your host, Bria Villa, and today's episode is for the girlies. As a man, you may want to listen to this because I do think that there's some pieces in this for you. But today's really talking to my girlies. I know the audio of this will sound the way every audio ever sounds. If you're listening, thank you so much for listening. If you are watching, you know that this is a more intimate setting. I am traveling nonstop for the next few months. It's been a bit since I last filmed. I last filmed in December. We are now at the end of January. So I had stacked up a ton of content because I knew I'd be traveling a lot in January and February. So it's February 2025, and I literally am traveling every week, if not every other week, all the way until June. So my schedule is just nuts right now, and being able to set up time with production is really hard, let alone setting up a full day. So I am literally, for the next 2 weeks, going to find every spare ounce of time that I have to be able to film more episodes for y'all and really content stack. But right now, life is just lifing. Like, it's really busy in the most positive way. Like, I have so many exciting things coming up. I have 2 of my closest friends' weddings. Business is picking back up again. So in the professional world, my full-time job is just taking a lot of my time right now, in like truly the best way. Hopefully I can do an episode on some exciting things that are going to happen in the next month career-wise. And then I also have a really, really exciting trip coming up in June that I cannot wait to tell y'all about. It truly like made my year having this trip come up. So I'm going to explain that to y'all in future episodes, but today I wanted to just like level set, have more of an intimate dialogue. I recently posted on my Instagram story on the pods page asking y'all this or that. So I gave you a list of like 10 topics and asked you to pick which ones you wanted to hear about. And this one was overwhelmingly voted for, but I will eventually get to all the topics. I just wanted to prioritize the things that you all want to listen to. So this episode is for my girlies because out of all the voters on that episode, it was all women who asked for this topic. So today we are going to get into leaning into your feminine energy. And this has been a personal journey for me for a while because I've operated in my masculine for so long. And so I want to share a little bit more about just like the difference between masculine and feminine energy. I want to talk about how to lean in more to your feminine without discarding your masculine, because you do need a balance of both. Everyone needs a balance of both. And I also want to kind of reframe the idea of masculine and feminine energy because they're not actually tied to genders. It's just what they are by nature. And we've assigned certain traits in the feminine and certain traits in the masculine to genders. But the reality is, in order to live a balanced life, you do have to have a combination of both. Now, you can decide which makes more sense for you. You can decide in different seasons of your life which one you may want to lean more into. And you can also decide overall which traits you appreciate or want to embody more. And so we're going to talk about the masculine, the feminine, the divine feminine. And I really love this topic because this is a journey, like I said, that I've been on myself, operating in my masculine for so many years. I didn't even understand that I was doing that. I was like, I'm a woman. Like, what do you mean? Like, the traits that I'm exuding are sitting in my masculine energy. It's not registering. So I really want to share more just about my journey and everything, I have leaned so much more into it now that I just like view things a lot differently through this lens. And so, something that's really important for me to say is that femininity is not about gender, but it's about energy. And it is about the qualities you carry, but femininity and masculinity sit in everyone. Everyone. So, I want to be really clear about that, but let's get into like what masculine and feminine is, and then I'll tell you more of my story and like what I've leaned into. So, masculine versus feminine, super quick, high level contrast. Masculine is structure, masculine is action, masculine is logic. So, a lot more like regimented, a lot more operating logically, a lot more of independence, a lot more of grit, of strength, of perseverance, having a lot more drive. Drive is a big piece of masculine as well. While feminine is more flow. Feminine is intuition. Feminine is creativity. And so, key traits that I learned about feminine energy, and honestly, I just did research. I watched a bunch of TikToks on like how to lean into your feminine energy, which like sounds so silly, but like at the end of the day, who doesn't go on TikTok to learn things? But then I like went and looked stuff up. There's this app that I use called let's see what it's called Blinkist. And this app gives you a summary, like it gives you book summaries. And so I started to like look up little book summaries just to like learn more about it. But here are some of the things that I learned. So feminine energy is receptivity. So being open to ideas, support, experiences, it's being receptive. That's a part of feminine energy. It's also intuition. So trusting your gut, trusting your inner voice. And as a woman, I firmly believe that we have a deep, deep seated connection with the divine, with God, with the universe, however you like to define it. It's God for me. But because of the natural beings that we are, because we are people who bring life into this world, I believe that we have something so deeply seated in us that's connected to the creator because we, in our own ways, are creators. And so, intuition is a huge part of the feminine. Creativity. So, creativity is flow, is fluid. Creativity is an option for you to express yourself authentically. That's a part of the feminine. Emotional expression is a part of the feminine. So, empathy, care, love, all of that falls into femininity. And then, like I said, flow. So, not too much of this like rigid control, but just being and being present and enjoying and finding peace in flow. That's a huge part of femininity and something that I've really needed to lean into because for the last 10 years, I have really operated, and actually, if I'm being honest, majority of my life I've leaned into my masculine. And it's because I've always been in this position in my family, in my friendships, in my career, and even like social status that I had to lead. A lot of masculine is leadership. So you do need a balance of both, but I've had to lead. I've had to use critical thinking and logic. I've had to have a lot of structure. I've had to have a set of rigidness around what I was doing because that drive, that push, that ambition that sits within the masculine are all things that I needed to get to where I am today. And now I feel like I'm reaping the fruits of my labor of sitting in my masculine so much that I'm like slowly starting to really sit in my feminine, and I love it. But as much as I think it was an organic evolution, I also think I had to be more intentional about it because you don't necessarily realize how much you lean into one or the other until you define them, take a step back, look at how much of your day or how much in certain seasons you're operating in both things. And it was really important to me to really look at myself differently. And I really started to lean into my feminine more when I started to heal. When I started to do a lot of the inner work through therapy, through journaling, through my routine, which we're going to do an episode on just like routine and habits and what success looks and feels like and how you define it. So, like, we'll get there. But as I was starting to almost reset myself, is when I started to realize how much more I want to lean into the things that the feminine brings me and qualities that I love. I love the opportunity to be creative. Like, I love that I can set up this camera right now and talk to you all in a flow and just be present and share my natural way of thinking or being and trying to think of new ideas and how I can reach you all better. That level of creativity and using my voice in a way that I haven't used it in a really long time is so feminine to me. I also, when I think about my audience and who's on the other side of this, I originally built this podcast with my target audience being women. Like, I wanted to lean more into empowerment, but also like the softness of who we are. And I think for a long time, I viewed softness as weakness. But now I view softness and vulnerability as strength. Like, there's no one stronger than a woman who fully owns who she is, softness and all. There's no one stronger than a person who's able to be vulnerable and share their experiences and give love anyways. Like, that is such a powerful thing to me. And I never correlated power with softness or power with vulnerability or power with empathy. But then I look back and I'm like, okay, but those are all things that are seated in love. And love is literally the most powerful thing on this planet to me. Like, there is actually nothing more powerful than love. And so I was like, wait, I've been operating in this space for so long of like, power is rigidness, power is drive and ambition and grit. Some of those things are powerful, but the reality is that while those things are powerful, what's even more powerful or equally as powerful is all the things that I just mentioned, the softness, the vulnerability. Like, I love being someone that people can lean into and feel heard. I love being someone where being around me, and I hope that this is the case, and I hope that this is the environment I create for people, because this is what I want to create for people, is I hope that people come to me and feel like I'm a safe space. I hope that people, when they're around me, feel like they can be themselves, feel like they won't be judged, feel like I'll understand where you're coming from, feel like you can be authentic. And to me, that is so powerful. The best leaders that I've ever known have operated a lot in their feminine, have operated a lot with love at the foundation. They've operated with care at the foundation of what they do. And of course, there's a balance. Like, you have to have some level of structure. You have to have a level of accountability that's in your masculine. You also can hold people accountable kindly. And so I just love the dynamic of both, but I've really enjoyed leaning into my feminine more because it brings the best out of me. It brings the most authentic parts out of me, but I've kept all the qualities that sit in my feminine so tucked away in fear. Like, I've been so scared to lead vulnerably. I've been so scared to be soft because I've been so worried that people will take advantage of it, or that it won't be appreciated, or that I'll be viewed as weak. And I'm being honest, like I really hated the idea of people viewing me as weak. I hated it. And honestly, at times I still do. Like, I still worry that people are going to be like, oh, Bria, just, we can say or do whatever because, and I've said this, that sometimes I feel like I'm understanding to a fault. Um, because I will literally look at anybody's situation and understand where they're coming from, even if I don't agree with them. But I see that as a powerful thing now. And I used to not. I used to think that people would take advantage of me because of that. And if people do, they do. But at the end of the day, I can only control what I put into the world. And it's so important to me to do things that really align with who I am at my core. And me at my core is actually very feminine, but I've just completely lost sight of that because of how I've felt that I need to operate. And honestly, did have to operate out of survival. And not saying like, oh my God, survival, like life or death, but you all know how it goes. Sometimes life is tough, it throws a lot of things at you. And in order for you to literally make it day by day, you have to operate a certain way. And I operated in my masculine just to make it. And so leaning into this feminine side of me is just so beautiful, in my opinion. And I feel like it's made me, I don't know, like even as I talk about it, I'm sitting here like evaluating myself because that's just how my brain works. And I'm like, and I feel like I'm just like gentler. Like, yeah, I have like this whole funny, goofy side of me for sure. And yeah, I have this like boss side of me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if I'm really passionate about something, like, I will be regimented about it. Like, my friends, we always joke how militant I am about certain things because when I want to get something done, I'm gonna get it done and I'll operate in my masculine. But like, even right now, I just feel like I'm so, I don't know. I'm just like so much gentler. And it's cool because I'm watching old episodes of myself, and a lot of these episodes that I've rolled out recently have been really old. So there's a few episodes that you all will see before this one even releases that I filmed over 8 months ago. And it's like watching myself back and seeing the progress that I've made, even in this short amount of time, is wild. Like, I did an episode with Natalia about what we want in our future husbands and what I hope to find in a partner. And literally in that episode, I was like, if I found my soulmate and I knew this was the love of my life and I knew that this is someone that I could spend the rest of my life with and he didn't want to be a father, I would be okay with it. I said that. Now, it was wild. Even a week later, after just like reflection and thinking about it, I was like, I actually don't know if I would be. Because I've realized, and sitting more in my feminine, I really want to be a mom. I really want to be a wife. Like, these are things that I deeply desire and have always desired. I just didn't allow myself to have those desires out of survival, out of, if I focus on this, or if I show people that this is what I want, they'll think I'm weak. If I show people that this is what I want, they won't take me seriously in business. If I show people that this is what I want, they won't view me as like this boss woman that I want to be and am. But it's like I can be both. You can be a boss and you can be a mom. You can be a boss and you can be a wife. You can be a boss in both of those roles, And I just like did not put the pieces together on that until really recently. And so leaning into my feminine has shown me, oh, baby, I do want to be a mom. I do want to be a wife. I want to be a good wife. I want to have a beautiful family. Like, this is important to me, but I didn't realize how important it was to me until I really started to lean more into my feminine. So, I want to encourage you, if you're listening, to lean more into it. Let me tell you why I think it's important. Then we're going to get into how to connect to your feminine. So, the why is one, leaning into your feminine restores balance. I think we often, especially in society today, operate in masculine modes. So, like I said, control, grit, grind, hustle, all of that is operating in your masculine. And we lose touch with the beauty of softness and how much that can bring you, how much it can not only bring you peace, but also allow you to love and pour into others in a new way. So, one, I would say just restoring balance in your life is beautiful. I don't necessarily believe that life ever has full and total balance, but I think we should always try to have balance. So, one, it helps restore a level of balance in you. Two, I think it just enhances your relationships. Me leaning into my feminine has made my relationships better, not only romantic relationships, but platonic relationships. I'm able to lean into my friends and my family more. I'm able to be softer with them. I literally, if you know me, you can attest to this. And please put in the comments or something that you can attest to this. I, for the longest time, swore up and down I hated physical touch. Swore up and down. I was like, don't hug me. Don't touch me. I don't like it. I don't know why I did that. I think I just had this thing with like being soft. Like I had this thing of like, I just don't need it. But now, since I've leaned more into my feminine, I've actually realized that physical touch is like big for me. And I would say that I hated it, but I would always find myself gravitating to like reaching out and touching people when I talk to them or giving people really warm hugs or like holding hands, even with my friends, like platonically. You'll watch an episode that I did with Shekinah where her and I, like, half the conversation are holding hands. We're both touchy people, but I think me leaning into my feminine has allowed for my relationships to get better. And an aspect of that has been the way like I actually physically embrace people. I'm not just emotionally embracing people, I'm showing them my softness through physical touch. So now I like love it. Like, almost too much. Like I'm always touching people and I think I've always been like that. I just like suppressed it so much. And so, yeah, I think it's like not only just that, that's just an example, but you just foster more empathy. You have deeper connections. You ask deeper questions. You show more of yourself. You're more vulnerable. And all of those things are going to innately lead you to having better relationships. Like what you get out is what you put in. And being more vulnerable will only allow the people that you are connecting with to be more vulnerable too. And do you want the surface level version of someone or do you want the fullness of who they are? So then why are you inhibiting yourself from being the fullness that you are? Like it's wild to think how simple relationships can be. And sometimes operating in your feminine allows you to get deeper with people. So that's another reason why you should lean into it. So restoring balance, enhancing relationships. But then the third to me is unlocking creativity. I'm such a routine person. I'm such a structure person. So this is hard because this is like some of the things that I lean into in my masculine. But it's so essential for growth and for business for you to lean into creativity, for you to give yourself time for flow, for you to give yourself time to just be present and not have so much structure to where you're not even allowing yourself to create new ideas. Like, I have to schedule time on my calendar now to think. And before, I used to literally block my calendar back to back to back to back to back. If I had a free spot, I'm putting a meeting there. If I had a free spot, I'm doing something, whether it's trying to set meetings, responding to emails, building a strategy. Like I was always trying to fill my time with doing, doing, doing. And leaning into my feminine, I'm like, wait, I need to take more time to just think. Like, just think. Give it a second to breathe. And for me, getting into a flow state and creativity is like I listen to music, I do a little bit of meditation, or I take a few deep breaths. I start to do something that's like an aimless task. So, not something that requires a ton of brain power, whether it's like walking, whether it's getting ready, whether it's doing dishes, like something that kind of gets me in a flow. And then all of a sudden, I'm thinking while I'm doing the dishes or showering, oh my God, my best ideas, my most creative ideas come in the shower. Like, because I've unwinded a little bit. I'm not busy with other things. I'm kind of like doing something, and maybe this is just like my ADHD brain where like I have to physically be doing something for my mind to really like hone in. But when I'm in the shower, I swear I just get so much like creative flow. Even when I block this time on my calendar to think, I'll stop for a second, I'll listen to music, I'll walk away from my laptop for 2 seconds just to like let ideas come to me, let myself slow down and process. And like slowness is feminine, patience is feminine, intentional care, time is feminine. So I just think it's really powerful, especially as a businesswoman, to give yourself time to be creative, to get into flow. And feminine energy is that. Like it allows you to do that. That's a quality of your feminine. So, why you should lean into your feminine, restoring a level of balance, enhancing relationships, and unlocking creativity. And I think about how to do that because it's easier said than done. But sometimes it's just one of those things that you just do it. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I like visualize myself future state and like the woman I want to be. And I'm like, okay, let me act like her right now. Like, what would she do? And I've done this like in dating where I'm like, let me just not orchestrate anything and just let the man do the planning, do the structure, do the pursuit, all that, because that is the masculine. And I'm like, let me just be patient. Let me be open and let it just fall into place because that's leaning into your feminine. How to connect with your feminine energy. Wrote down some steps. 1, slow down. Like literally just slow down. Create moments for stillness. Like I was just saying, meditation, showers work for me. Journaling, even if it's for a little bit, listening to music is huge for me. It like gets my brain in a flow state. Walks, just something to just like breathe, chill for a sec. Creative expression, dance, paint, write, something that just feels like you're able to create. Like, if you love social media, spend some time building a social media campaign, or I don't know, something that's creative. Go on Canva and create a mood board. Something that really helps me with creativity is Pinterest. Like, I go on Pinterest and my algorithm is chef's kiss. Like, the stuff that I have saved now or the stuff that pops up for me, it's my favorite social media app, literally, because it's just so inspiring to me all the time. It like gets my juices flowing, it gets creativity going because I'm seeing a lot of the things that I either want or hope to achieve or whatever, and then it gives me ideas. And love Pinterest. So good. Anything that really just like speaks to your soul or lets your soul speak. So that's why I love music so much, is because especially if I'm alone, but I even do it at like home with Natalia. I'm always singing. I am always dancing. And like sometimes it just feels good to, this sounds so wild, but like I'm just going to be vulnerable and say it. Like sometimes, especially when I'm by myself, because a part of me would like cringe if anyone ever saw me doing this, but I'll turn on music and I will just like dance with myself. Like it's so weird, but like it's not. It's really not. Like dancing is so beautiful, and I think that we've like altered the way we dance or our expectations of dancing because like TikTok and whatnot. But like dancing is so, even if you're not good at it, it just feels good to like move your body and just get in a flow. So they actually really recommend dancing as like a part of your, to really get like your feminine energy going, especially as a woman. I have to tag, there's this like one she's like a guru, and she like talks about how dancing helps you lean into your feminine. But anyways, it's just cool. Like, I like it. Judge me for it. I don't care. But like, I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna do a little dancing. And I enjoy it. And it's fun. Tune into your body. So like feminine energy just thrives in embodiment. Like breath work, yoga, Pilates, they're all things that you spend so much time focusing on, like muscle groups or how your chest rises and falls when you breathe, or feeling your breath in your stomach or feeling it in your nostrils. Like when you're very in tune with your body and how it feels, it helps you tap more into your feminine energy. And like, honestly, appreciating and loving your body is so important. When is the last time you looked in the mirror and you looked at your body and you were like, I love the softness of my skin. I love the way my head sits on my shoulders. I love the way that my smile looks. I love the crinkles that are in the corners of my eyes when I smile. I love that I have one dimple. Your physical body, girl, if you like how you look, you should say it to yourself. You should look in the mirror and be like, wow, I honor you. Like, that is a really good way to lean into your feminine. It's appreciating the capability that your body has, especially if you're a woman. Knowing that you bring life into this world, that you are capable of it, that your body's designed to do it, you should have so much appreciation for how powerful your body is. Like, you are literally a portal from the spiritual realm to the physical realm. Like, your body creates life, literally creates life. Like, I don't know why we don't spend enough time thinking about how incredible we are and how incredible our bodies are. And yes, like your period can be frustrating, but sometimes it's like the fact that my body can do this is wild and beautiful. And so like take time to like look at yourself. Take time to like recognize how beautiful you are in the skin that you're in. It helps you lean into your feminine. I literally did this exercise with Natalia. We went to dinner on Valentine's Day, and did Galentine's because her and I, like I said, we're both single. If you've watched that episode, I made her. It's uncomfortable, but I made her, and it really helped us sit in our feminine. I said, at this table, I want you to tell me 10 things that you love about yourself. And it's uncomfortable at first because it feels braggy or whatever, but we did it, and it was such a, like, both of us had such a cool, like, I immediately felt happier. I immediately felt better. I immediately felt more confident. I immediately felt loved just by taking extra time to like own who we are and hearing her own who she is and giving her the validation as well of like, yeah, I love that about you too. Also love that about you. And every time we would say something we loved about ourselves, we would clap. So we would do like, okay, one thing I love, or number one, I love this. And then we would say it and we would say why. And then we would clap. And then we'd be like, number two, I love this. Say it, say why, and then we would clap. Like, that is such a like beautiful thing. And it really helped us sit in our feminine. And I just love that exercise. So do that with yourself every once in a while. Do it with your best friend, do it with your sister. You don't even have to do it with anyone, like do it alone. But honor yourself, love yourself, give yourself that love. It helps you sit in your feminine a lot. Sensuality, not sexuality, not to be confused. Sensuality. Things that are sensual are like romanticized. Okay, so I want you to think lighting candles, setting moods, energy, savoring tastes, experiencing touch. They are your senses. So like sensuality. Okay, so things that ignite your senses: hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. Do things, like I said, smelling, light a candle, watch the candle. The sight of it is beautiful, the smell of it is beautiful. It helps you lean into your feminine. So I always take candlelit showers. That is one of my favorite things to do, is just slow down, play some peaceful music, light candles, no lights, and shower. And I actually take time. I feel the warm water on my skin. I smell the really good smelling body soap that I use. Sticky Dates is that girl. And it smells like vanilla and it's one of my favorite smells. And then I smell the candles and I see like the moodiness of the candles. And it's all just like such a divine experience and it heightens all your senses. And that's a really good way to sit in your feminine or practice sitting in your feminine. So do little things like that. Even when you're eating, like slow down, get off your phone, and take a second to like think about how everything tastes. It's that easy. You just have to take a second. Embracing vulnerability, of course, practicing being vulnerable with others, giving people the space to be vulnerable with you really helps you sit in your feminine, and receiving gracefully. This one is so hard for me, but I'm working on it and I'm allowing it, and it honestly feels good too. I am not gonna lie, I like it. I'm like, okay, give me that. I'll take that. But allow help. Allow yourself to get help. Allow compliments. Let people compliment you and be sweet to you. And allow for support without deflecting. Like sometimes, most of the time, my initial reaction to someone offering to help me is like, no, 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 it's fine. I got it. Don't worry about it. Because I don't want to be a burden to anyone else. Every once in a while, practice being like, okay, thank you. I can't even tell you how much that has like done for me lately. Like I had someone special in my life, someone who's really important to me, get me a really nice gift for my birthday. And I, over the years, even like just people that I've even dated in the past, like I would never let them do too much for me because I always felt like, oh, I don't want to owe anyone anything. Or like, even deep down, I was like, do I even deserve this? But in this instance, this person was like, I want to do something nice for you because you deserve it. And I just like allowed it. And it really like meant so much more to me. Like the gift isn't, I mean, love the gift. Gift is great. It is beautiful. But it wasn't the gift that meant a lot to me. It did, but like it was more the fact that I allowed myself to receive it. And that God used this situation to help me grow and to help me sit in my feminine. And that was so cool for me. So allow yourself to receive, allow people to take care of you. Everybody needs to be taken care of at some point. That's like one of the hardest things for me, but it's something I'm really working on. So, in summary, slow down, give yourself time to have creative expression, tune into your body, practice sensuality, allow others to give to you and to do things for you. That is literally leaning into your feminine. I also just want to be clear that softness is not weakness, it is strength. I will say that again. Softness is not weakness, it is strength, okay? Allow yourself to be soft. It doesn't mean submission. Like femininity doesn't always mean submission. Feminine power is magnetic, it's not passive. So it doesn't always mean I'm waiting for everything to happen for me. I'm attracting, reframe, I'm attracting everything that I desire. There's a difference. So you're not just in a submissive state, you're in a attracting magnetic state. And know that men have feminine energy too. Men should be allowed to be vulnerable. Men should be allowed to be caring. Men should be allowed to be empathetic. Don't view them as weak if you wouldn't view yourself as weak for being soft. Allow men to be soft as well. And be better about managing those expectations too. Because you have to balance both, as do men. And honestly, I personally want a man who leans into his feminine when needed. I think it's important. I need a vulnerable man. I need an honest man. I need a kind man. I need a loving man. So know that that's aspects of the feminine. No one's supposed to operate in one or the other all the time. So I want to round this out by saying femininity is beautiful. Lean into it. Give me grace as I'm leaning into my femininity too. I am always evolving just like you are, and I want you to honor yourself in your evolution and just like embrace yourself, embrace who you are, embrace how you feel, own it. That's a part of being in your feminine. So, some affirmations for you that I think are good is I embrace the power of my softness. I embrace the power of my softness. I am safe to feel, flow, and receive. Like I am safe to feel, to flow, and to receive. My feminine energy is a gift that connects me to my highest self. My feminine energy is a gift that connects me to my highest self. That's a good one. I also think you can reframe that and say, my feminine energy is a gift that God has given me, right? Like whatever makes sense for you. I would love to hear how you connect with your feminine. So screenshot this, share it, whether you're listening, screenshot, share the episode on your social media, tag the thebisfor podcast. Whether you're watching it on YouTube, screenshot the YouTube, post the link, whatever it may be, and tag the thebisfor podcast on Instagram and tell me how you connect to your feminine. Like, I want to hear your thoughts. I think that there's so much that I can learn, like I said, from you all. So I want to hear how you connect to your feminine. I think it's so important. So let me know, what was your biggest takeaway? What are things that you're going to do and practice? Put it in the comments below. Also, please make sure you rate, comment, subscribe. And in sake of being vulnerable, I am really, really close to monetizing on YouTube. So the more views I get, the closer I am to monetize, and then I'll be able to get ad placements and be able to really do more with this podcast. So every view counts. So please share it with someone, watch it, leave it running on your TV, whatever you want to do. Humble ask of me is to help me get there. So thank you so much. I love all of you so, so much. Lean into your feminine as much as you can, obviously with balance, but I support you in your journey. And I hope that you got something away from, or that you got to take away something from today's episode. So I am sending you all my love. Con amor. Besos, besos, besos. And I will see you next week. Bye.